This is another episode of, wait a minute, we're backing up. This is 2022. Welcome to another Sunday Motivations with Kevin and Friends. And I am joined today with my solo act today, Mr. Naheem Garcias. Oh, and this episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, share stories and experiences through the perspectives of using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping other people every day. And today we are joined by our friends, and happy Founders Day, Brother Bruce Hill from Ohio, Brother Naheem Garcia. I think you're in the snow state now, up there towards Boston right now.
We getting it. We getting it. We got it.
Yep. And welcome. For those of you that are new to Sunday Motivations with Kevin and Friends, this was created from over 300 quotes, motivational quotes that I had created throughout my writings. And when I brought my good friends in there, I said, well, why not just talk about me? Let's talk about us in life. And so we brought in our friends each week. Someone brings in a motivational quote, and we talk about how it landed on us based on our perspectives and interpretations of that. And we do a little bit of a round table where we go around and give our own interpretations, and then we wrap it up. So we meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can bring a friend. We have our normal cast of players, and we do this every single Sunday like clockwork. So for those of you guys that are listening to us, welcome. For Bruce and Naheem, welcome. And 2022 is going to be a great year. And we're gonna start off with Naheem and his beautiful background, Naheem Garcia Entertainment, Healing with the Art.
Edutainment.
Edutainment.
Yep.
All right, edutainment. Oh, good new word. Way to go. So Naheem, we've talked, and you got the floor today with a quote.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about something motivational, and there was a few quotes that came to my head, and it's the way I've been feeling, not in a bad or good way, but it's just the way I'm feeling, how I'm looking at life. And I know that, even though this past year has been incredibly tough for all of us, the way I started to look at it was feel my pain today, but tomorrow feel my glory. And the reason I always said that one is because even though I may feel the weight of it today, that does not mean that the next step I take, I need to carry that same weight. I have to lighten it up. And then another quote came into my head, if Kevin, you don't mind me to keep going, that which you perceive, you conceive. So if you think it, you can make it. And a lot of us think we can't make a lot. We can't do a lot. The world's got us feeling doubt and embracing doubt. And then this other feeling came over me, another quote that was very important. I rather suffer in my dream than to live in my nightmare. And that was important to me because a lot of times we're afraid of dreaming and we're afraid of struggling with our dreams, and we don't dream and we don't live them out, and we live in our own nightmare. So when I came up with that one, the importance was that I'd rather struggle with my dream, making my dream happen, than to live in my nightmare and not live at all.
Let's go ahead and run with that one. Go ahead and elaborate a little bit more on I'd rather suffer in my dream than live in my nightmare. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, for me, suffer didn't so much mean as it just sounded right, but it didn't mean hurt and pain. But if it did mean hurt and pain, I'd rather struggle with my dream and trying to make that happen than to live in my nightmare, than to not dream and not produce and not do anything and be miserable and be happy. And sometimes we're afraid of taking that next leap, that next step. Sometimes we think we can't because so many things have been against us. And you know what? When I'm working towards my dream, working towards the better me, And there's going to be some struggle, because without struggle, there's no victory. You know, that should have been the quote. So it was important for me to understand that as long as I struggle in my dream, I won't live in my nightmare. I won't live in a place where I can't produce, where I don't see light and I don't see color and I don't see life. And that's how the quote came to me. And that's what spoke to me when I thought of that quote.
All right. That is deep. I know you have made some major changes in your life, relocated from one home to another. And I know a lot of people are going through the same transition, be it with relationships that they thought were steady in 2021 that became very fragmented, transferring into 2022. And those relationships could be personal, they could be professional, and those relationships could be just relationships you have with within your own mind of making that transition. We ended last year with talking about change and moving forward. And sometimes we move forward without some of the things that we were holding on to that we now left behind us. And your share kind of brings that back into the light. So we appreciate that. So I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to say happy Founders Day to my brothers, Phi Beta Sigma chapter worldwide, and to my brother, my young brother here, Bruce Hill, my frat. We're going to go, I'd rather suffer in my dreams than live in my nightmare. How's that land with you, bro? And I'm going to,
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Happy Founder Day, frat. Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You. I feel this one. I feel this one because a lot of times that life we picture in our head doesn't match our present. And that future we picture in our mind doesn't match our current reality. And so we spend, every waking hour trying to create that, trying to strive for that. And one thing I've learned as we reach our goals is we never really achieve our goals. We transform into someone that can live those goals. And so what I mean by that, let's say your goal was to be able to lift 100 pounds, right? And for whatever reason, that's too heavy for you. Well, the goal is to lift 100 pounds. You don't make 100 pounds lighter. All right, you go grab 5 pounds, you practice there, you grab 10 pounds, you practice there, 20, you practice there, 40, you practice there, 80, you practice there, and eventually you can lift 100 pounds. And it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to be a challenge, right? Maybe there's some foods you don't eat. Maybe you're getting up a little earlier. Maybe you're going to bed a little later, right? You're missing a football game or something. And eventually you're going to lift 100. Even easily. Well, what happens? 100 pounds get lighter? No, you got stronger. And that's where, when we talk about suffer for our dreams, like that molding process, that evolution can be challenging, it can be difficult, it can be uncomfortable. But it's much, much more satisfying. It's much more fulfilling. It brings so much more joy than living with what if. Living with the possibility. I could have done that. That should have been me. And so I'd much rather take the time to suffer. Since we add multiple quotes, he said, I hated every minute of training. I chose to suffer through it and live the rest of my life as a champion. All right. Shout out to Cassius Clay.
all right.
Excuse me, Muhammad Ali. And so that's how I choose to live. That's a good quote, because that's how I live my whole life.
But now I want to restructure it, because it sounds more like I rather struggle with my dream than to live in my nightmare. That makes a little more sense to me now, because that's the whole point. I'd rather live than not live.
Yeah, I got what you meant. I think that
The
does help.
Walking Dead is real.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. So I'm going to throw the quote out there again. And Naheem, will you rephrase that quote again? Because we're going to share it with Ife. He is actually new to this family. I met this young man in a group on Clubhouse called Black LinkedIn. Very dynamic brother. He's going to be interviewed on my podcast, talking with Kevin and Son. Just go ahead and redo the quote again.
Yeah, the remix.
The revised edition.
The remix. I rather struggle with my dream than to live in my nightmare.
All right. So now,
man, I gotta write that down. I'd rather struggle with my dream than to live with my nightmare. Ooh. Y'all, I just come in for like less than a minute and you're already hitting me with the mixed meal remix, dreams and nightmares already.
yeah.
Love it.
And what we do every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we throw out a quote based on our interpretations and perception, how it lands with us. We do a little bit of a roundtable and we talk about our perception, interpretation of that quote. And so, believe it or not, I won't say hot seat, if we can get you stable for a little bit. And go ahead and let's talk about how you rather suffer in your dreams than live in your nightmare. You're up, young brother.
It's struggle in our dreams. Struggle in our dreams.
Yes.
To live in it. Struggle in our dreams, because we shouldn't be straining that banner. Struggle in.
Yeah. I love the quote, and how it applies is we have to live in our purpose. We have to walk in our purpose, because if you're going by what society gives you, if you're going by what your parents tell you to do, if you go by what your friends and everyone around you tells you to do, you're a clone. You're going by what people tell you to be instead of who you really are. So if you have dreams, those are God-given gifts. Those are a message of a manifestation that is within your grasp. So when you decide to not live in your dreams and not pursue your dreams, you have decided to become stale. You've decided to become stagnant. You decided to become another version of yourself that isn't the truest form of yourself. So therefore, you're cheating yourself. So with that wonderful word that I was just blessed with coming into room with, I'd rather struggle in my dreams, because our reality was once someone's dream that somebody was courageous enough to make happen. I'd rather struggle in my dreams and have the possibility, maybe not the certainty of it happening, but if I have a saying too based off of that, it is better to have tried than to wonder what if. So I have a dream and it's a gift. Sorry, I'm giving y'all bars this morning, bars, but it's bring it. Yeah, why would I want to live something that's not intrinsically or not instinctively and not naturally my own? That's it.
Way to go. God, all these dynamic shares. I don't know how to come back with this. What I will say, when I was a young man, and I'm still young at heart, the late Don Mitchell, my high school track coach, always said, do not ever run a race that you had to make an excuse for the outcome.
Hey, hold on. That sounds a little bit too much personal responsibility.
Wait a minute. Do not run a race that you have to make an excuse about the outcome.
Yep.
And you said that, and I was remember the day when everybody whipped me in a racetrack, and all of a sudden I got a cramp in the back of my leg. I was a freshman. Everybody, all them seniors smoked me out the water. And next thing you know, I had a cramp in the back of my leg trying to fake in the finish line. And the coach just looked at me and shook his head.
Yep. You know, when I think about this quote, and you think about the preparation for wanting to be in a relationship, wanting to start a business, wanting to train for an event, the hard part is not the event itself. Where the suffering comes is the preparation, the day in, the day out, the 24 hours before, 364 days before the event, the sacrifices that you had to make, the things that you had to overcome, the betrayals of people within your own circle that prepared you for that final race. He always said, if you could reach out and touch someone in a race, he expected you to beat them. 100%. He says, never cross that finish line with an excuse of why you did not do your very best. And so when I talk about you, how do you requote that, Naheem?
Yeah, because it keeps evolving as everybody keeps speaking. I mean, this is information. That's what it does. So now it's, I rather struggle with my dreams than to live out my nightmare.
And if we, as young Black men, remember another 21, 22-year-old man that stood on Capitol Hill and he said, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. If he had not struggled with his dream, we would be living in that nightmare today. So I'm going to let that land to our listeners the way that is. I'm going to go back around the horn. Naheem, before we close.
I feel good. Thank you for this morning. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some words, and thank you for letting me see how the power of evolution is real. One sentence, it evolved into a whole lot, and I'm glad to see it grow, and I'm glad that I could see myself grow with and through you all. Thank you.
Brother Bruce, happy Founders Day again.
Thank you, sir. Likewise. I like
Black
this.
and blue, baby. Man, I'm an alpha man, but I love my Sigmas, bro. Real talk, real quick. I graduated University of South Carolina, electrical engineering degree. It was a Sigma that made sure I passed the finish line and graduated.
I got love for all our Greek brothers.
So do we.
As long as
I'm
you
a
look
Prince
like
All
me.
Mason. I don't know if that got any juice.
All right.
All right, you a forefather to the Greek movement, Black Greek movement. I understand. I know my history.
You know the history. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Much love. Much love, Effie. I think just like the quote evolved, we have to evolve. We have to understand that what we know today is based on what is today. And what is tomorrow will change what we know tomorrow. So it's very good that we allow our knowledge and our even our own wisdom to be fluid, to be dynamic. That's why it's important to tune in every Sunday.
Ife. New brother.
Now you know I'm about to steal the show, right? You know I'm about to steal the show, right? You already know, Kevin. You already know.
This is what happens when you get your first cheer at the big people's table.
Yeah, I'm at the big people table now.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a saying. I am not where I want to be, but I'm exactly where I need to be. And who's to say that tomorrow I won't be exactly where I want to be? We have to really move with intentionality, purpose, and grace. And one thing that with me talking to Kevin has taught me is that the universe is going to give you everything that you need. For months, almost since last summer, I've been going through my head, how am I going to get a podcast off the ground? And within one conversation with Kevin, I came up with 2 podcast ideas that I've had, and either one of them is going to go where it needs to go. Like, you know, and that's why I put in the chat just now. I just wanted everybody's social media, especially Naheem, because I'm gonna give you credit for that quote, because that quote is definitely morning coffee. Like, you got to think about it. A lot of people would rather live a nightmare, be content with what society tells them to do, and inside they're miserable. Notice how many people, when they retire from a regular job, 20, 30 years, and then they just sit down and then they have health problems and then they die within 2 to 3 years after retiring. If you're living your dream, you're always vital. You're always important. So, with that being said, because, I'm a speaker, I give TED Talks on Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting ready for that TED Talk this year. So the biggest thing with me is I aim to be impactful, not popular. I'm going to change the world by being myself. I'm going to change the world even by making mistakes and acknowledging that I made a mistake, because my goal, dealing with almost everything, I'm human, I do have flaws, but my goal everything is to lead people or better than where I met them. So if my dream is alive, I am alive. And I have an artist friend of mine, and I consider him family, and it's a song that he didn't release, but he said, "Don't ever let your dreams die." And if I do decide to get tattoos, I might just get that tatted on my body. Don't ever let your dreams die, because too many people do. And with that, I yield my mic.
And leaving with that, I'm going to leave with our listeners that are tuned in. And we do this every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, religiously, be it with 1, be it with 10, be it with 4. We meet here. I want you to think about the quote that we had today. And I want you to remember, if this was your last day on earth, would you want to leave this world knowing that you had a life to live that you didn't live? Or would you like to leave this world knowing that you had lived the life of your dream? So I want to thank everyone for coming into the space and sharing. I hope if you like this podcast that you would go to RMK Productions Network on our YouTube page and subscribe and follow. This will be listed under Talking with Kevin and Son on most podcasts. And if you'd like to participate, reach out to us at info@rmkproductions.net and let us know. We will send you the link. You're always welcome to bring a friend. And I just want to say thank you for all of you guys that keep showing up day in, day out, each year. My grandfather always said, when you get to a point when you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and I'll fade to black. Thank you.
Peace.
Great job.
This one's just for y'all.
Man, happy Founders Day, though.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
What's going on?
Happy Founders Day. Oh, he had to put the background. Okay.
Yeah.
I see it. Prince Hall Masons. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know a little something now.
Hey Kevin, I'm gonna give you a call in about
I'm
2
historic.
minutes.
All right. Give me a call in about a couple of minutes. I'm welcome to do that.
All right.
All right. I will see you guys next week. Hey,
Yep.
Ife, can you come here at 9 o'clock and bring the quote for next week?
And do what?
Bring the quote for next week, since you're new blood.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and you're
I
full
love
of
it.
them.
Yeah.
You're just rolling.
Just send me the text so I can share it with anyone. If you want to bring someone in, we start at 9 o'clock. And just remember, we are recording live. This is a podcast. So even if you pop in late, I want you to sit there like you've been there for the whole time. So, it kind of flows.
Hey, you already know, Kevin, you're my mentor. I came in like it was nobody's business. And it's just like, even though I didn't know quite the format, because this was my first time, I made sure I centered myself, even though I think it's a free flow. I really live for conversations like this, because now I have a higher energy than I already woke up with. Like, I just did a little bit of yard work and I was texting you, and then my phone temporarily died, turned it back on. I was like, hey, I cannot let Kevin down. He emailed me.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right.
Outstanding.
I just want to tell you, don't go anywhere, Naheem.
Oh.
I was kind of laughing within myself. I said, brother, Ife, how do you pronounce your name again?
Ife. It's all good. Ife. Yes.
He's a younger version of Naheem. Because I'm listening to him talk. The first time Naheem came in, he was exactly like you. And I sat back and laughed. I'm going, Damn, he's got a little brother.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
part of the same tribe. That's why we're here.
Yeah. And what we're
We
trying
find
to
ourselves through
Mhm.
time.
and
We
what
find
we're
ourselves through time.
and what we're
Yes,
trying
we
to do
Yep.
here through this conversation, instead of just recapping and rehashing quotes of famous people, because every time a quote hits one of us, the interpretation of that quote lands a little bit different from everyone. And a lot of people don't talk about how you ingest this quote and how you effectively activate the quote within you. A lot of people have a conversation, but there's no action behind the conversation. And hopefully this motivational Sundays will call someone to action, to make a change in their life, a change in their behavior and the way that they treat other people. And like everything else, everything that's ever positively happened to this country has happened because of Black. We're kind people. We're generous people. They may want to deny it, but we are the people of change. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there.
Okay.
And I'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.
Talk to you later.
Peace, peace, peace.
Bye-bye.